Hello beautiful humans, how the hell are you doing today? I have recently been extremely disappointed in the Reverse Harem books that I've been reading. You know, the ones that I talked about being horror and creepy. Nothing. Nilch. Nada. I've been really disappointed with the books that I chose for that Reverse Harem horror spooky TBR thing. Which just goes to show that supernatural books can sound like they're gonna be creepy and then not be. I feel like my problem with coming up with that TBR and finding those books and everything was that I didn't properly illustrate and define what horror, creepy, spooky means to me. What am I specifically looking for when I want to read a book that I'm calling horror, right? So in the pursuit of trying to find this feeling of fear and creep and spook and horror, let's start with better defining what that means. For me specifically, in a reverse harem book. I want the reverse harem, the sexiness, the fun relationship dynamic. I want those qualities, I just want them wrapped up in, we could go the traditional horror route, which is just like a slasher film. I could go for that. We could go for a psychological thriller type of thing. We could also go for the existential dread, the making me question my own sense of self and sense of reality. These are the elements of horror and creepy and spooky. I refuse to believe that these genres cannot be intertwined into something wonderful. I've done some digging. But first, let's talk about the disappointments themselves. The Seven Sins of Snow by Loxley Savage. This is a Snow White retelling. The plot itself is severely basic, is very much just a Snow White story retold with supernatural and reverse harem type of elements. There's nothing really extraordinary or different or unique about the plot itself. This is not to say that I did not still rather enjoy this book. For me, definitely a 1 on the spook scale. Nothing really out of the ordinary at all. It's just a general, pretty decent fairy tale retelling reverse harem story. This is also a standalone book, so the pacing is very much like fast burn. Everything happens so quickly and nothing is developed. I mean, it's kind of hard to do that in just a standalone one novel. As far as those limitations are concerned, I really did enjoy the story as a standalone, fast burn, vampire Snow White retelling. The characters were sexy and the sexy scenes were like A+ in my book, but I didn't really have any like deep-seated emotional connection with any of the harem characters or even like the MC herself. Seven Sins of Snow, because of the sexy scenes, totally redeemed it. I'd give it 4 stars. You should totally read this one. Just don't expect the plot to be anything like outstanding. This book is definitely fairly soft when it comes to supernatural reverse harems. There's not very many dark elements to it. Even the trauma that Snow White goes through is not too unsettling or anything. So if that's the kind of reverse harem that you're looking for, then this is the one for you. However, we're not looking for that. We're looking for horror. So on to the next disappointment. Faceless by KB Everly. I did not know that this was a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Apparently I'm just all about the fairy tale retellings lately. Also a standalone, also extremely fast paced. Like if the last book was a fast burn, this one's like an ultra fast burn. Like the pacing is non-existent. It's just from 0 to 60 in 3.2. This book follows our MC, who is a horror author. She goes to be with her sister because her sister is expecting a baby and they're like visiting each other. They're up in New England, I think, somewhere. They get an invitation from the weird family that lives in the mansion down the street. Masquerade balls every year and they invite the entire town, yada yada yada. They wind up going. Our MC gets approached by 3 of the masked dudes and they like dance the night away, and then suddenly they expect more from her than she ever realized possible. Again, if you're looking for a really cool Beauty and the Beast retelling that's like punchy and super fast and just like bam and done. I really love reverse harems that can make me empathize or like really care for the main character and those in the harem and like all the characters in general, honestly. I like really fleshed out characters, and then I like when there's a plot. I feel like I'm asking for a lot here, but honestly, I just really love a well-crafted story woven into sexy reverse harem lovingness. My favorite reverse harems of all time are probably their Vampire Queen by Jolie Stu Burkhart and then the Power of Lies series by Irwin Hadley. And like, if those two favorites tell you anything about the stories that I like to read, then there you go. However, I will say that this author does say, like in her author's note in the back, that apparently she had to write this book like super fast. So I can see how maybe the pacing and like the rushedness of the book has something to do with that. The redeeming qualities about this book for me was that the beginning was really awesome and really strong, and it did have a few elements of like spooky build-up, you know, like the build-up in a horror movie before there's like a jump scare. Anyway, so the beginning definitely had that kind of an element, and I was very invested in the relationship between the MC and her sister. I don't know if that's just because I also have a younger sister who's 4 years younger than me, and that's the MC's the younger sister. Anyways, I don't know if that's why I felt so emotionally invested, because I had like a thing, an element that we had in common, but I thought that relationship was really well developed and very strong, and I cared about them, which was why the spooky, like creepy part of it actually was fulfilled for me. But then, like, after that happened, cut and paste, cut and paste, cut and paste. And, like, the writing itself was really beautiful, but, like, the plot was really just not it for me. And then she brought it back around for me in the ending was pretty cute. That is the only reason why this book is getting 3 stars for me, because it redeemed itself from with the beginning and the end. And I did finish it. Like, I at least was enough into it that I wanted to know what was gonna happen to the characters. So, I guess it was alright. 3 stars. Purely because the beginning and the ending redeemed it for me. Otherwise, she'd be getting a 2-star just because I was not a fan of the very Stockholm syndrome-y things. It's like she excused the Stockholm syndrome-ness with, like, by the character being, like, aware of it. Like, because I'm aware that this could be Stockholm syndrome, like, it's fine, it's not, it's fine. I enjoyed it enough to finish, not enough for me to be like, you have to go read this. Like, you could read it or you could not. I don't think it's gonna change your life either way. Creature of the Dark and Skinned Deep by D.E. Chapman. You know how I said that I was, like, new to Omegaverse? And then I kind of backtracked and I was like, oh, but I have kind of read it before. No, Pass Jordan, you have not read it before. It is not your thing. I learned very quickly what Omegaverse, like, actually is. You look up definitions online, and, like, it's one thing to understand it in the abstract, it's another thing to be reading a book that has elements of, like, actually what it is. It's not for me. I finally found what my hard line is. It's not torture, it's not bully romances, it's not blood play, it's frickin' Omegaverse. I think Creature of the Dark is the one that I read, or I started to read, and I only got like a couple chapters in, and it's literally just this female who, I think she's like a wolf shifter, but she's like in these dungeons, like nesting, like, I don't know, she's in heat and there's these alphas and they, like, I don't know, it was just not my thing, and you kinky bastards that enjoy that, you enjoy. I pass it on to you Omegaverse lovers. Now that we have it very clear the disappointing RH horror books that I have come across recently, let us go ahead and take a foray into these new books. This is take 2 of the Reverse Harem horror book recommendations book TBR thing. I have not read these yet. Let's hope that these don't disappoint this time. Hollowed by Candace Wondrak is a 386-page Reverse Harem supernatural, paranormal with ghosts and spirits and such. There's an ancient evil guarding the town. There's like, this is kind of a spin-off of like the legend of Sleepy Hollow and like the Headless Horseman. Spirits, ghosts, whatever you want to call them, they're real. And in the town of Sleepy Hollow, they're anything but sweet. Next we have Headcase, a dark twist on a classic by Kendra Moreno. This is a Halloween-inspired type reverse harem. It's 218 pages, so a little on the short side. When All Hallows Eve crashes down upon Kenzie and Crane, Will they be strong enough to survive the massacre? Or will they remain locked inside the walls of Whisperwood Sanatorium? Headcase contains depictions of gore, blood, and a sexy horseman. This book sounds really good. It sounds kind of like a classic slasher 80s film type of horror book without their claim by CX Young. This is a shifter, supernatural reverse harem romance with some male-male action. Is also a dark romance, so keep that in mind. The MC has been in an arranged marriage with another shifter. She is an albino kitsune, which is kind of cool. Her unloving parents send her to Japan because apparently she is a bad omen and this arranged marriage is the only thing that's going to redeem her. But her arranged marriage dude doesn't want to have anything to do with her, and then she finds out that she actually has 3 fated mates or something like that. I don't know how this one's gonna be creepy horror, but it is a dark romance, so maybe that will give us some like psychological thriller type vibes. These Monstrous Ties by KV Rose. This is a new adult dark romance, 374 pages. I'm actually really excited for this one. It sounds really good. Our main character sold her soul to the devil on Halloween 1 year ago, and once the blood rite was complete, he disappeared off the face of the planet. So now she's scorned and she's going to make him pay. This Halloween, things are going to be different. This Halloween, Lilith is coming to take what is hers. Truth by Cassie James is an RH bully romance. I know bully romances are an acquired taste, but this one sounds like it could be pretty creepy. 4 years ago, a group of friends were playing a game, and then one of them winds up dying. Now, 4 years later, our main character wants nothing more than to just forget that that night ever happened. Something lands her back at Banner Hill, the school, I'm assuming, where these things took place. Apparently, she's not the only one that's back. There are 2 dudes who want nothing more than to remind her of how horrible that night was. I've been trying to steer clear of YA type reverse harems, but this one I'm making an exception for because I kept seeing it recommended on different pages, blogs and such like that. Plus the whole past murder thing makes me feel like it could fulfill some of the creepy, spooky, unsettled vibes that I'm going for. And one more bully romance book for you guys. This one's called Dead End. It is literally marketed as a Halloween horror reverse harem. What do you do when everything you thought was made for spooky dreams and dark fantasies becomes your reality? You make it your bitch. That is exactly what October does. Yes, her name is October. It's freaking hilarious. This town that they're in, a bunch of spooky, creepy things go on. Witches, vampires, zombies, you know, the works. She and her friend and these 4 other dudes, somehow they all get together and they're trying to figure out like how to save things or help things. Not quite sure yet, but the little book blurb ends with like, who will live and who will die? Who will rise again? My name is October and this is my story. I haven't really been in the mood for bully romances lately, but these 2 sounded really cool and like Halloween-y. I hope that some of these books have some redeemable qualities. I hope that you guys find some enjoyment in them and that we finally get to enjoy some spooky horror reverse harem dreams, fantasies, desires, wicked nightmares. Thank you guys as always for watching. I appreciate you immensely. I hope that you are staying safe and you are doing well and you are enjoying the beautiful fall, spooky time of year. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!